MakerSnack.
Captains of the CPX, button up because we're about to learn how to use buttons to control our Neopixel lights. In a prior video in this playlist, we showed how you can download the files that we're going to be using, and we also showed how you can configure a CPX in CircuitPython and attach a strip of Neopixel lights. If you haven't gone through that, you want to go and check out that earlier video, but with that said, let's get at it. Now let's head back over to Mu, and we're going to load in example number 3. So I'll go to my desktop where I had saved that. Now for example number 3, what we see here is we're actually taking advantage of the CPX functions to be able to read to see if buttons are being pressed. And remember, you've got reference, which is up here in the CircuitPython API. So if you scroll down here, there's information on how you can identify if CPX.button_B is pressed. So let's look at our code over here. So we've got, first we check to see if button A and button B is pressed. Then we print to the console button A and button B are pressed. And what we do is we actually turn off all of the pixels. But if button A is pressed, what we do is we print out A is pressed and we fill everything with red. If button B is pressed, we print out that button B is pressed and we fill everything in with blue. Now, the reason why we have the A and B first is the way that the while loop is going to go through is it's going to go down and check. And since we're looking for A and B to be pressed, we want to check that first. Because otherwise, if we had the if CPX button A up front here, well, it would stop when we pressed A instead of checking to see, hey, is A pressed and B pressed at the same time? So that's why I put these two up here. So now let's go ahead and save this and take a look at how our CPX behaves. So now to save this, we'll get rid of the last code.py tab that we have up here. And I'm going to double click on lightstrip example 3.py and scroll down to click on the CircuitPy volume. Make sure that I type in code.py. I'll replace what's there and save it, and it'll ask me to replace. Now, something else that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to open up the serial monitor here. Now, by clicking on the serial monitor, what that's going to do is, remember down here I have these indicators if the buttons are pressed. You'll see that the CircuitPlayground Express is really sensitive when it comes to button presses. So if we press a single button down, it may actually register 2 or 3 button presses there. Also, if we press button A and button B down simultaneously, it might first generate and register that button A was pressed or button B was pressed. But once we do both, it should definitely pick up that both of them are being pressed. And so now let's go over and take a look at our code in action. We can see it cycling through the rainbow colors that we used in our constants example. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the CircuitPlayground Express and I'm going to press both button A and button B at the same time. And what that's going to do is it's going to turn off all of the lights. Boom, they're gone. It worked perfectly. And then we can go up, button A turns it to red, button B turns it to blue, A red, B blue, A red, B blue, and both buttons turn it off. So there we go. Using buttons, we've got yet another technique under our belts. Once again, I hope you've enjoyed learning from this.
MakerSnack.